It takes a lot of work. You got to put energy into it. It's not all gonna come easy. Hey y'all, it's me Deja B, and I'm back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about growth and length retention, honey. Okay, so I have been on my natural hair journey for like 10 years at this point, and within the past few, like I would say like 3 to 4 years is when I have personally experienced the most growth, girls and guys. And it's been a journey. 10 years, and only in the past 3 to 4 years I've been experiencing the most growth. That says a lot about what I have learned, and I'm here to share what I have learned with you guys because it has been a lot of trial and error, honey. Seriously. So first, I just want to start off by saying a lot of times we see people's end results, and you know, we say, oh wow, your hair is so beautiful, that's crazy, like why can't my hair be like that? And we fail to remember or realize that they grew their hair, they took care of their hair to be that way, or their parents took care of their hair to be that way. And some people do have beautiful long curly tresses all of their life, but usually that's not because it just grew and just stayed that way. It's because they took care of their hair, their parents took care of their hair, and it grew and it flourished. So now if you are in a space where your hair is not flourishing the way that you would like it to, then I am just here to give you guys some tips and help you out, and just let you know that it is not always going to be easy, but it will be worth it if you put in the time and the effort. So here we go. We're going to go from start to finish, from washing to styling to taking care of the style, all of that, because you can't leave any parts out, okay? So first I'm gonna say, don't be afraid to cleanse your hair and your scalp. So many people co-wash, and they neglect the shampoo. And yes, some people's hair seem like it's flourishing, like it's doing well, but you end up getting a lot of buildup on your scalp. You want your scalp to be healthy, because where does your hair go from? Your roots. So you want to make sure that you are giving your hair the best chance possible. You are removing that buildup, that debris from your scalp, and even your hair shaft, especially if you are low porosity, because your hair holds on to products so much easier than normal to high porosity people's hair does. And you want to make sure you're getting all of that gunk and debris out. So you want to make sure you're cleansing your hair, and if you want to co-wash majority of the time, at least make sure you're cleansing at least once to twice a month. I would say twice at least, but I mean, I cleanse like every week or week and a half basically. So yeah, just make sure you're getting at least a good cleanse or a good detox at least once to twice a month. That cleanse and detox could be a good clarifying cleansing shampoo, or it could be you doing an Aztec clay mask or something like that. That is going to really reset your hair and get rid of all of that buildup, which is so important for giving your hair the opportunity to flourish, and also giving your scalp the opportunity to produce and spread the sebum down our hair shaft, which is already so hard for our hair because we have curly hair. Our hair isn't straight, it doesn't just slide down. We have coils and we have curls, and sometimes it's harder for us to get that natural oil to spread throughout our hair. Number 2, once you cleanse and shampoo your hair, if you are continuously using powerful cleansing, drying, squeaky clean feeling cleansers, then you want to follow that up with what? A deep conditioner. You want to replenish your hair with the moisture that was stripped from it when you cleansed it. Now, some people don't deep condition. Some people do think it's a waste of time and money. So if you don't deep condition, then you just go in with a moisturizing leave-in. That way your hair will be replenished of the moisture that was lost when it was cleansed. Now, to follow that up, we're going to talk about how important it is for you to find good conditioners and masks and deep conditioners, whatever, that help detangle your hair. Because if you have curly hair, especially if you have really tight coils, you do a wash and go especially, your hair is more prone to coiling and twisting around each other, leading in, you know, single strand knots, regular knots and tangles, stuff you deal with when you have to go and detangle your hair, right? So you want to find good products that have slip. It's so important to have products that assist you in your wash day so that you're not yanking your hair out. And that is so important, because when we're talking about length retention, we're talking about maintaining the length on our hair. We're talking about avoiding breakage. So in order to help avoid that breakage, we need to use products that help us glide through our hair a little bit easier so that we can get those tangles and knots out of our hair. Ooh, and then I do gotta jump back to the shampooing. I have more recently in the past year, started shampooing my hair in sections. So some people shampoo their hair, they split it into 4 sections, and they shampoo each section, or how many ever sections they prefer. They shampoo their hair in those sections individually. Now when I say I shampoo my hair in sections, I mean that I pre-poo. If you watch my channel, you know that I pre-poo very often, very frequently. The majority, I would say like 95% of my wash days, I'm pre-pooing. And so when I pre-poo, I twist my hair into the sections after I detangle each section. And then when I go in to wash my hair, I wash my hair in those sections. That one helps to minimize my detangling throughout my wash day, and 2 helps me not regain tangles when I go in to wash my hair. If you wash your hair all in one all together, it is very likely that it will get tangled again, because you're doing this. You're scrunching up, and then your hair is scrunching up with that movement. So if you're not continuously being conscious of pulling your hair out and down when you're washing it, then it's more likely than not that you're gonna get more tangles again, and then you're gonna have to detangle again. So if you wash your hair in sections, you're less likely, both ways, if you pre-poo and keep the twist in, or if you just wash it, section it, and wash it in 4+ sections, then you're less likely to get more tangles and less likely to pull more hair out throughout your wash day. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to after detangling and doing your hair. And when you're looking at your hair, one thing I always do with mine is I'm constantly looking at the strands that I can really see clearly, especially, but I'm constantly examining my hair. If you have knots, if you have splits, if you have thinning hair, if you examine your hair every wash day or every chance that you can think, you can go ahead and snip those. I keep my shears right beside me, okay? They always somewhere in the proximity, because if I catch a single strand knot, if I catch a split, if I catch a tangle that's not coming out, then it's getting cut out. It's gotta go. Because you know what? It'll help you avoid future damage and tangles in the long run. If you keep the single strand knots in your hair, if you keep the splits in your hair, what are they gonna do? They're gonna keep splitting up, they're gonna keep knotting up, they're gonna keep tangling up. So you might as well get rid of it before it gets worse, before more strands get attracted to the damage, to the knot, before that strand just keeps on thinning out, going up, because that's what it's gonna do. It's not gonna just go away. So you gotta make it go away. Number 9, when it comes to styling and detangling, always, and I stress always, capital always, always finger detangle before going in with a styling tool. Now, I'm not against using a comb or a detangling brush at all. I personally, majority, I would say like 85-90% of the time, I just use my hands. Unless I really need a smooth look, or I have a lot of tangles, then I will use a product to help with that. But I always use my fingers to detangle, separate the hair, pull through, separate the hair first. That is so important, because if you have hella knots, in your hair, and then you just go in with a brush, what do you think it's gonna do? Snap, 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 snap. Crackle, 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 pop through your hair, and it's going to cause you to lose more hair. And what are we talking about? Length retention. You want to keep your hair, so you choose the gentle route first. Okay, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I'm just gonna follow my notes because I don't want to lose anything. I don't want to miss, I don't want y'all to miss any information, and I have a one-track mind, so if I forget it, it might it might stay forgotten, you feel me? So I'm gonna go ahead and say this. When lounging, always keep your hair protected. When I'm at home, when you see me walking around my neighborhood, which you won't, but if you did, majority of the time I look like a bum because I have a satin line bonnet or I have a satin line slap cap on all the time, like all day, every day, unless I feel like my hair needs a few minutes to breathe. Then I'm gonna have a slap or I'm gonna have a bonnet on, because if you're lounging and laying around, you don't need to be rolling around on your hair, rolling around on a pillow, rolling around on a couch, letting your hair snag on your shirt or a pillow that's a little rough or anything. You want your hair to stay in place. You want it to stay friction free to avoid breakage, to avoid frizz, since that is so important as well, to avoid letting other objects pull the moisture out of your hair, which a pillow can do, a blanket can do, your couch can do. Whatever you're laying your head on, the moisture can go into that. So you want to make sure your hair is protected at all times. If you're not out, if you're not moving around, if you're lounging, laying down, put a bonnet on, put a slap on, put a scarf on, a satin scarf, whatever. Put something on your hair. And then another thing, avoid sleeping with your hair out, because if you sleep with your hair out, you roll around on your hair. If it's free and flowing, it's gonna do this. Anyway, it's gonna roll around on each other if you roll around on it. So you want to make sure that your hair is protected when you go to bed at night as well. That could be with a bonnet, a satin bonnet, satin line cap. Satin pillowcase would help as well, causes a lot less friction. I personally don't have one, but I always have a satin bonnet or a satin line cap on my head. Usually it never comes off, so I don't have to worry about that. If you're someone who has to worry about your bonnet coming off, then you probably should get a satin pillowcase just to help you out as well. So the point of it all is really to avoid breakage, to avoid tangling, to avoid knots. That will be helping you retain your length. Now this is something I talk about, or I haven't talked about it recently, but I've previously talked about so much because it has been so important and so vital for me, and that is maintaining a proper moisture protein moisture balance. When you are more high porosity, that is so important because your hair is already broken down, your hair shaft is already lifted, and you are more prone to breakage, which means that you are more prone to your hair coming out and having less length retention. So if you make sure that you're having the proper protein and moisture balance, that means that you're making sure that your hair maintains the strength that it needs to hold itself together. And I was gonna say and growing, but your hair always grows unless of course you have some sort of condition, then that's not really in this realm. But other than that, your hair is always growing, so it's important to retain what has grown. Another thing that is very important, not playing in your hair. I know we have a good, you keep your hair up for a while, then you have a bomb wash day, you get a good twist out, a good braid out, a good wash and go, and your hair is just there, it looks good, it feels good, your hands, they're just drawn to it, and you're not even thinking about it a lot of the time. But I need you to think about it, because when you put your hands in your hair constantly, number one, it disrupts the hair, causes frizz, and frizz means what? More tangles, and tangles mean what? More damage, more breakage, more knots, and we want to avoid that. We want to avoid the frizz, don't we? Yes, we do. We also want to avoid pulling the moisture out of our hair, because that's what we do when we have really moisturized hair. When we put our hands in it, it's gonna come off on your fingers. So then you end up drying your hair out as well. You end up pulling the product off, the product that's laying on your hair, protecting your hair, keeping your hairstyle intact. You're just disrupting that. Why would you want to do that? Okay, moving on from that and kind of touching on something that I spoke about before when I was talking about examining the hair, making sure that there isn't any damage spreading that can be avoidable. So you're trying to make sure that you avoid damage spreading. You stop it where it's at. That's why I keep these shears on deck, okay? Like a hairstylist, I always got the shears, okay? Always got the shears. We're talking about trimming your ends. Your ends are the oldest part of your hair, which means they need a lot more love and care. They need a lot more TLC. So yeah, you can prolong trimming your ends, and I mean in a good way. That means that you're constantly taking care of your hair. You're keeping your ends tucked. You're keeping your hands out of your hair. And when you do that, when you keep your hair braided up, tied up, away from anything that can be damaging to it, you're leaving your hair alone, then your hair has a little bit more time to just do what it does. It's not necessarily gonna continue breaking, continue, you know, needing a lot of attention. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you leave your hair alone, it doesn't need as much attention. When you need to provide attention to your hair, you're adding a little bit more stress on your hair. So another thing that has helped me is I keep my hair braided up, plaited up, twisted up, under a slap. Majority of the time it's under a slap, it's under a bonnet. And me leaving it alone is causing what? Less tangles, less friction, less breakage, trim, cut, butcher it, let it go to let it flow, honey. How you know you need a trim really is when you're going through your wash day and it's just extra difficult to do everything. It's extra difficult to style your hair, pulling, you can't get your hands through, you can't get a good detangle, you can't get a good anything. It's time to trim your hair, or it's time to get a trim if you don't feel comfortable trimming it yourself. It's time to get something done. And I promise you that when you do get that trim and then your next wash day is so much easier, you'll wonder why you made yourself suffer in the first place. Stop holding on to the damaged hair because it's not doing anything but damaging you. Let's be honest. It's not doing you any good. Trim it, cut it off. It will grow back. Your hair always grows, and it's up to you to maintain the polished good looks of it. So we're gonna go a little bit back to that point of keeping your hair up, keeping it out of the way, prolonging that trim, okay? Protective styling. Now, protective styling, what I find as protective is a style that isn't so tight. It is pulling very hard at your roots, at your edges, the nape of your neck, your kitchen, because I wouldn't say that's protecting anything. If it's pulling so hard that you have little bumps, that you're in pain, that's not protecting anything. You can't call that a protective style. It might be cute, but it's not protecting anyone. Inflaming your scalp, it's not protecting you. Causing damage to your follicles, it's not protecting your hair. Maybe try some knotless braids, because you know, box braids, regular box braids might not be so protecting because you're gripping your scalp really tight, but with knotless braids, you're kind of just braiding into your hair via the scalp more so. Now I'll give you a perfect example. Those jumbo knotless braids that I did, I'll be honest with you, because they were so big and so huge, I wouldn't consider that a protective style. It might have been protecting the hair shaft, but it was not necessarily protecting this, because one, the braids were so heavy on my scalp and they were pulling a little bit until my hair grew out a little bit, and then, you know, the tenderness kind of went away. But I wouldn't consider that a protective style if at the start of it, a week or so, it's just causing you aching and pain. What is that protecting? It's hiding those ends though, which is important, but you want to also protect your scalp as well, because that's what your hair grows from. And the constant pulling at the scalp can cause traction alopecia, which can cause you to lose your hair and cause hair not to grow in spots. So, but mini twists, mini braids, knotless braids that aren't too, anything that's not going to be pulling on your hair, be super duper heavy on your hair, is going to protect your hair and your scalp. So you just want to make sure that you are using actual protective styles. If you got a sew-in and you keep a sew-in, or you keep wigs on your hair for three months, don't wash your hair, I wouldn't call that protecting your hair. You need to let your hair breathe. You need to get the gunk off of your scalp. So what? So your sebum can come through, so that hair that's in that follicle has the chance to grow out of your head. Now it might work for a while, 2 months, okay, that's cool. But once you're breaching on 3-4 months and you haven't washed your hair because it's just been braided up, what are you doing? You ain't doing right. If you want to wear sew-in or a wig, just make sure you cleanse your hair. Make sure you give your hair a chance to breathe and to flourish. And then just put the hair back in. Just put the wig back on. It's not that hard. It's not complicated at all. And the last thing that is really, really, really important, just as important as how well you take care of your hair, all of these other tips and things that I've been giving to you, is eating and nourishing your body. Drinking water, getting the proper nutrients through food is really hard, but you have to try. And then if you're still lacking, or you feel like you're lacking in something, you can always see a doctor, or you can always do your research, and you can figure out if you want to take multivitamins or certain vitamins to suit your needs. But also always consult a physician, consult a professional, and they'll let you know what you need. And if they don't really let you know what you need, then find another physician. It's as simple as that. Find somebody who's going to give you what you're looking for in a good way. So you want to make sure you're getting enough iron. You want to make sure you're getting enough fiber. Did you know that having a high fiber diet helps your body to absorb protein from food? Did you know that hair was made of protein? When you have a high fiber diet, when your body is digesting that protein via help from the fiber, it's helping you get protein throughout your body. That's so important for your hair, for your muscles, for everything. So, you know, making sure you're getting enough of the things that your body needs is really important. Making sure you get your vitamins, A, B, C, D, K, thiamine, whatever, niacin. Making sure you're getting everything that your body needs to function is going to help you flourish, and it's going to help your hair flourish. Omega-3s, zinc, etc. I'm not an expert, but I do know there are a lot of things that help your body flourish, help your hair flourish. That's why they're in your products. But you have to nourish yourself from within as well in order to help your hair flourish. Drink water. Your body's made mostly of water. You want your body to stay nourished, and that's just that on that. You want to make sure you're taking care of your hair, but you also want to make sure that your body is getting the nourishment that it needs, and you got to put energy into it. It's not all gonna come easy. It's not all gonna come easy. It takes a lot of work. A lot of times I don't want to do my hair. A lot of times I don't even want to get dressed. I don't even want to put anything on to do a video or film or whatever, and I'm supposed to be doing this for you guys. But a lot of times I just suck it up. You got to put the energy into it. If you want an outcome, you got to put the energy into it. I say all that to say, these are my tips for growth / length retention, honey. I hope that these tips were very helpful for you, because they have been helpful for me. Also, I do want to say that I personally do take some vitamins. I do take the Main Choice multivitamin / hair vitamin. I'm not telling you to take it, okay? Because I don't know your body. I don't know what allergies you have or whatever. I don't want to be liable for any of that, but I'm saying what helps me, and you have to judge what helps you. It helps my hair grow so much faster, and honestly I probably would say it's better than just taking biotin, because taking biotin can take a lot out of you, especially if you are not a water drinker. My body is a flower pot, so water's my game, you know. But yeah, so I do want to, you know, just say, make sure, you know, you follow my tips. Make sure your body is nourished. Make sure you are putting in the effort, putting in the work, because your hair, it is a job. This is a job. This is a job, honey, and it needs you to put in the work. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate all of you guys, all 500 plus. Tell your friend about me. Tell somebody about me, your friends, your family, anybody. Tell them to subscribe, tell them to like, tell them to comment, tell them to share. Tell them I am here for you and I am here for them. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.